Welcome back to Thin Blue Lie Audits, where the question remains, why is Rollins still a member of the Palm Beach Police Department? Recently, I sat down with BrevardNews, Kevin Jeffries and Isabel Wright, and we had a discussion. Very concerning, some of the things that are going on in Palm Bay. Do me a favor, subscribe. Inching closer to that 4,000 subscriber mark. If you can, just comment. Let me know what you think. If there's anything else you'd like to see. If you want to hear my story, just put it in the comments.
Welcome to another edition of BrevardNews Focus. My name is Kevin Jeffery, your moderator, and I'm joined today by former Deputy Chief of the Palm Bay Police Department, Lance Fisher, as well as President of the United Coalition of Council, Inc., Isabel Wright. And welcome, guys. We wanted to talk about something very important, and the question that I want to ask on this focus is, why is Palm Bay still employing Sean Rollins? And as you look at what is happening here, this guy, Sean Rollins, for you who don't know, he's an officer who has left controversy everywhere he's been. So he was fired from the Columbia, South Carolina Police Department for excessive abuse. The town of Mascot is being sued because of his excessive abuse of a city councilwoman's husband. And then you had this summer, the traffic stop with Ms. Hatcher, and this guy has just left controversy in his wake. Is that, Isabel, is that accurate?
Absolutely. We have been working diligently to try to get him removed. He's still on probationary status, so it's time for him to go. The issue with Tamara is a very sad situation. She's pregnant. She was slammed to the floor. He absolutely excessive force on a simple stop that should have just been a citation and she could go. I think he was triggered by the fact that she asked for a supervisor. I think that he was triggered by the fact that she had a t-shirt that said Black Lives Matter. And, it was not his call. He drove it.
He came up after the fact. We've shown the videos on BrevardNews, and the first officer was going to let her go.
Absolutely.
He didn't see it was that big of a deal, and then it escalated. Rollins escalated the incident.
Absolutely, like he does with everything. He escalates it.
And so you weighed in on this, Lance. Why is this guy still employed?
Kevin, I have no idea. So this week alone, I've probably watched 8 hours of footage because after this story broke, I've had other citizens reach out to me that have hired attorneys as well. A 67-year-old man that was literally at Winn-Dixie picking up another elderly man that just got hip surgery. Rollins pulls him over right there in the fire lane, blocking all of Winn-Dixie because he had a transporter tag. And that seems to be the new thing for this squad, is to harass the citizens for transporter tags.
Yeah, explain what a transporter tag is.
It's the orange tag that you can use to basically transport cars back and forth for like car dealerships.
Okay.
So this gentleman explains the whole reason he's using it. Rollins escalates the situation, and the gentleman literally says, you know what, you're kind of aggressive, can I get a supervisor? Rollins immediately grabs the door handle, step out, you're under arrest. He's been on the scene for 10 minutes. He's never asked for a backup officer. He's never made any indication he's going to arrest this man until he asks for a supervisor. Isabel hit it right on the head. When Tamara asked for a supervisor, she's on 911.
So that seems to trigger him.
Every footage that I've watched of him, it's either a supervisor or if he believes somebody just goes against his authority. I mean, this last video I saw, he says to this gentleman, "Look in the mirror. You're a scumbag." It's insane, Kevin. I'm telling you.
How is this guy still employed?
And in every report I read, the supervisors say, "I've watched the body camera. It's in compliance." I mean, he literally smashes this Mr. McIntyre's head off the hood 3 or 4 times. You can hear the thumps, and that's not in any police report. That's not in any of the reports. But Corporal, well, he's not a corporal anymore after his investigation. But
so do they watch the videos? I mean, do they watch the videos, though, Lance?
They say they do, but there's no way, Kevin, because I watch them from start to finish 3 or 4 times, and it's insane. One lady, he stops a lady for driving too slow in the left lane. He gets her out of the vehicle, says, "You were doing furtive movement." She's like, "No, I was unbuckling my seatbelt." He then goes to the passenger, he's like, "Yep, she was unbuckling her seatbelt," and they couldn't have heard the conversation. She says something like, "You're not searching my vehicle," and he says, "Yes, I am." She says, "No, you're not. You can get a dog." He says, "You're not going to F and tell me what to do." Puts her in handcuffs, throws her in the back of the car. She sits there for 10 minutes while he searches her car because of furtive movements. No other articulable evidence or reasonable suspicion that there was anything in the vehicle because she was unbuckling her seatbelt. And then he says at the end, "Oh, yep." He says to the other officer, "Yeah, I guess she was unbuckling her seatbelt." It's crazy. It's crazy.
Ms. Wright, so you've been working to try to get rid of this guy, right?
Yes.
So you reached out this week.
Well, I've been reaching out since Tamara
Okay,
came to
walk
us.
me back. So starting with
So
Tamara.
in June, I received a call, an anonymous call, telling me I'm a civil rights activist. United Coalition Council is a civil rights organization. And this lady was trying to tell me what happened to Tamara and that she needed help and that she knew that I reach out in the community to help people, so she wanted to know if I could help her. But she didn't know her name. I called Lance and I said, "We need to find this woman because I don't know who she is." So he found her. We called her. We met with her. She told us everything that happened. And as we're trying to find out what's going on, Lance is doing a deep dive into it and starts doing a complete background check. That a simple Google would have said, this is what this man did.
Of course, the Palm Bay Police Department said they will not lower their standards to doing a Google
Well,
search.
I'm sorry.
I'm glad
That's what
I'll be
they
honest,
said, right?
I'm glad they're not lowering their standards because this gentleman was fired for excessive force. I mean, I have the paperwork from the South Carolina Justice Academy. It says he was terminated for excessive force, lack of professionalism, psychological and physical abuse of prisoners and persons. I mean, it's crazy.
Look, we need to make our community whole. This man is a risk not only to our community, financially to our city. You gotta at one point do the right thing, which is why we wanted to meet with the city attorney, because it is her judiciary responsibility to get an outside agency. If she's seen something is wrong and the department heads are not taking care of it, she has to take care of it. And she has failed to do so.
So you went and you did, and this gives us a good pivot there. You did talk to the city attorney.
Well, we did the talking because she refused to engage in our conversation. She was there. She wouldn't look at us. And now this started.
What was she doing? What do you mean?
She was just sitting there looking like this down, which is what got me to this meeting to begin with. Because at city council, when I went to speak, I said, I've been sitting here watching you guys, looking everywhere else but at the person who's speaking. So I'm here now, so I demand you pay attention to me. So they all started paying attention except for the city manager and the city attorney. So I called them out on it. So the city manager said, okay, he put his pencil down and paid attention. But she refused to do so. Continues to just look down and not acknowledge or look at me that I'm trying to talk and express what's going on. Now, this is her MO, continuous for the years that she's been sitting there. She doesn't engage with the community. If there's something wrong, she doesn't speak up and doesn't do anything. The issue that Jeffery has brought all these changes about not being able to speak now if you don't live in the city, is her job. And it says in
to
her
give
job
legal
description.
guidance about this.
Absolutely.
Right?
And to say, this is not the way to do this.
She said nothing?
She says nothing. I mean, she's paid an astronomical amount that really, I don't see how she's earning it, because she has all these other attorneys that speak for her. She doesn't go to court. She doesn't do anything. And the problem that I have is that we continue to support these bad behaviors. She is a salaried employee, and she's not meeting her judiciary responsibilities with the Bar Association, with the city, with the community. She works for us. She doesn't work for city council.
Well, they've forgotten all about that. They don't believe they don't believe that the people matter. So what was the ending of the meeting with the lawyer about this?
Okay, the ending of the meeting was that I gave Kenny the video. He was supposed to go home and watch it so we can be prepared for Friday.
So was Miss Kenny Johnson in this meeting with
Yes,
the lawyer?
he was. It was Kenny Johnson, the mother-in-law and the husband of Tamara Hatcher, Lance, and myself.
Okay. So all the while you were in the meeting, the lawyer is not really engaging.
She said, "I will not make any statements."
She said that, but she started getting angry when I was bringing out the points where she has to act on. And then she started turning and talking to Alice, about what was going on and saying that I didn't know what I was saying. Now, I come with facts. I come with paperwork. I show you. But
So you say that she had a failure to report on act or violation under the color of law.
correct.
She said no. Did she refute that?
No, she didn't say anything about anything.
You said that ignoring community concerns and public demands for justice, that she's doing that.
Yes.
Did she answer that?
No.
You also said that there were breaches of government ethics and professional standards. Did she answer to that?
No.
You also said that there were conflicts of interest and appearance of impropriety. Did she answer that?
No.
So what was she doing? Did she have tape over her mouth? Was she talking at
No,
all?
she didn't say anything except the remark that I didn't know what I was talking about.
Then you said you addressed the fact that the city attorney, Patricia Smith's conduct, management decisions, and failure to uphold legal and ethical obligations.
Correct, because she continues to hire more staff. So now we have 5 attorneys in her department, along with the risk manager. So all these.
How much are they making?
Okay, I have it right here. The last year's salary, $168,000 for the deputy attorney, and then I think the 3 other ones are making between 150 and 160, and then the risk manager is making 173, I believe it was, and she was making 290,000. She just got a raise, which she makes more money than any of the city attorneys in the area. Let's see what I want to make sure on.
And you wonder why people are up in arms about their taxes. I mean, you look at this kind of thing with where people are going. What are we doing here?
Well, the problem was that when the mayor got elected, we went in front of city council and we asked for an audit of salaries. Because you have people that have been working there for 20 years. Okay, yeah, maybe you worked up to it. But a park director should not be making $170,000 a year.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
It's a good job if you can get it.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. But it's bankrupting us.
So she basically gives you
Nothing.
the cold shoulder. No. What were you thinking, Lance, in this meeting?
Well, I thought she was on the stand. I thought she pled the fifth, to be honest with you. But it was. I mean, we had facts. You know, I mean, you can watch that video. Anybody can watch it. She gave it to Councilman Johnson the next day. He said he still hadn't had a chance to watch it. This is a lady that's sitting in jail, that's pregnant, who was literally, crimes were committed against her by somebody in uniform.
What was Kenny Johnson doing in the meeting? What was he doing?
He looked like he was shocked. Because my question along is, I want to know if you're watching the same video I'm watching, right? Because if you're seeing what I'm seeing and you're saying it's justified, you have a serious problem. Okay, forget about who it is.
Right.
But if you're saying that what this guy did is justified, then you shouldn't be sitting out in city council either.
And not to say something, it says a lot about it as well. So let's go to the Tamara Hatcher incident. So we played videos of that on BrevardNews quite a bit. So the video evidence documents excessive force and abuse by Sean Rollins, right? That's not in doubt, right? I mean, the video.
No.
Well, depends on who you ask.
Well, depends on if your lying eyes are showing you what's on the video. I mean, it's pretty obvious for anybody who sees that, right?
Everybody except the police department. Remember, they're saying the choking. I mean, I looked at the video again. You can see her shirt is all balled up from the thumb in her neck, and the strikes. They don't even. It would be one thing if they wrote it in the report and said these were justified because a pregnant handcuffed female is such a threat to Sean Rollins that he had to strike her and choke her. But they're saying they didn't happen.
So you're the police chief. Had this happened, what would you have done?
I would have immediately placed him on administrative leave. I would have immediately referred it to the state attorney's office because here's what I believe. I believe you have a burglary. I believe you have a battery against a pregnant female, which is a felony. I believe you have false imprisonment. I believe you have a false report. I believe you have tampering with evidence because, Kevin, check this out. I did a public records request for the 911. Remember, she was on 911 when Rollins smashed her window.
Correct. She was waiting for a supervisor. They were talking about sending a supervisor out to her. At the time.
Yeah, the officer tells me twice, don't forget the supervisor's on his way. I did a public records. The 911 tape got destroyed in September. She was charged with misuse of 911. It was never submitted into evidence. The very evidence that probably would have shown the fear that she was in at the time, that Rollins is standing at her window trying to smash it, I can only imagine she's probably telling the dispatchers, I'm afraid, send somebody out here. That 911 tape doesn't exist anymore. Yet she's still sitting in jail when the evidence has already been destroyed.
So she's in jail because they revoked her probation.
They revoked her
from some
bond
previous charge.
From a previous charge, right?
So no internal review or corrective action or legal response from the city attorney's office?
Correct. She hasn't done anything to address the issue to the community. We have brought it up, family has brought it up, other people have brought it up in city council. It is her responsibility to address the community and say, I am going to look into it and I am going to get an outside agency to investigate this, because he should not be out there.
So is it a strategy, Lance, that you just act like this is not happening and just wait it out and hope that people go away?
That, I think, initially was a strategy. It's not panning out because you see social media posts now. Some gentleman posted it. His brother's bicycle got stolen. Rollins was on scene, wouldn't even take a report. And then the other people are literally replying, well, he probably got bored because he couldn't lay hands on you. Things like that. I'm serious. And then,
but this is becoming, people are aware.
Yeah, and another lady says, he arrested I think it was his sister and her fiance the night before their wedding. Of course, the charges were dropped. I have no idea what the case is. Charges are dropped. But here they are. And she said, we had to spend a ton of money on a wedding and a lawyer. So people are aware.
So lack of transparency in addressing public concerns and oversight failures, and no bond, no appropriate medical care in jail.
Correct. So she was not married to her partner, and they've been together for over 20 years. So when we got the information and gathered everything, you know, when a baby is born in a facility, in a jail, it goes into foster care. And she has 5 other kids. So we wanted to make sure that that baby was going to go to the father. So we were able to secure access to her, and we were able to marry her on an away bride guidelines. So now she is a married woman. So now when the baby's born, the baby will go straight to the father. Now the issue we're having is that it's a constant battle with medical at the jail because they don't want to help or cooperate. So we were able to get HIPAA forms. We were able to get all the forms necessary. So when Tamara goes into labor at the hospital, whatever hospital she goes to, they have the appropriate documentation on the baby's father so that he can be contacted. But because of security reasons, and I understand all that, but we haven't had deliveries at the jail in a very long time from what I understand. But the situation is right now that she's not getting the appropriate medical care. She's not getting the vitamins that she needs, and honestly, she's not a threat to the community. Yes, she's there.
So is this retaliation? Do you think?
I don't know if retaliation is the right word.
What would you call it?
Oppression. She's being oppressed.
Okay. But it's all because of the fact that she complained about that stop.
Absolutely.
If she hadn't complained about that
stop.
Well,
this case that she's on no bond should have been dropped last year. Okay, because they didn't do anything for a whole year. I'm not an attorney. I don't claim to be one. However, when we have other attorneys that have looked at the case, it should have been dropped. This is all on a hearsay, this particular case. She's being charged with theft. She was doing, allegedly cleaning a lady's house for a while, I'm understanding, and this lady gave her a piece of jewelry. When the family found out, called the cops and said, oh, she had stolen it. And because she was struggling financially, she went and pawned it. So the pawn shop, you know, they don't give you what the ring is worth. They give you less than that. So the ring was actually given back to the owner without her attorney being able to assess the price of the ring or anything like that. The lady forgot, okay, she pawned it. We get the ring out and it gets returned to her because there was a clear witness, which was her daughter, saying that the lady gave her that as a gift. So now, all of a sudden, it's not just the ring. Now is, you know, military memorabilia, and it's all this stuff that has been added to.
So this gets to a larger issue. So Sean Rollins continually being on the force is pretty much a part of a larger issue.
It is because you know, the problem is that the city doesn't want to take the responsibility to say we did wrong, okay, and clean house. But again, these are all personal issues that are happening in our city. It's personal between what's going on with Lance and the police department and Patricia. It's all personal.
So there's no objectivity going on. No one is operating in a professional manner.
No,
they're all not. Using it with personal vendettas.
Absolutely.
And so forth. If you go against them, then there's a vendetta and so forth.
You know, and I hate to say that because, you know, we're supposed to care about our people, you know, but when we have people in place that have been hired by the city that should not have been hired, or if they are hired and you see that they're not doing the right thing, then you need to fire them or discharge them or whatever you want to call it.
So why do you think that it's not happening?
Because once they say, yes, he did this, that's it. The doors are open and everybody's going to file a lawsuit. So they're thinking, and they're not thinking smart. They're thinking we're going to carry this out and see where it happens, just like you said. But these people are not going to give up.
So here's another data point. You have William Wright, who is the chief of police internal affairs. He's failed to acknowledge or act upon the formal demand letter by Mr. Wright reporting unlawful stop, false imprisonment, aggravated assault, planning of evidence, excessive force.
So William Wright is my husband.
Okay.
Okay. 2 weeks prior to his arrest on my birthday, I went in front of city council on an issue about the mayor. I said there's allegations that he drew a gun out in a right along with a police officer. Where is the report? Where is everything? Nobody wants to do anything about it. 2 weeks after that,
kind of disappeared, didn't it?
It disappeared in their mind, but not in mine.
Okay.
The issue is my husband was riding bike, with our dog. He gets an officer saying, "Hey," my husband doesn't answer to "Hey." He should have said, "This is Palm Bay Police Department." He kept riding his bike. When my husband finally, stops, the officer says, "I got him," and it's on the recording. I got him. So he was being targeted. I was running for mayor at that time. So I filed with the Department of Justice and I filed with the FBI complaints. And they found that there was no reason for my husband to be targeted because on the video it clearly shows my dog unleashed. Then they started planting drugs and just made the thing horrible. When we showed our video, the charges were dropped.
That's standard practice. Just drop the charge and we'll move on with life.
But this has affected my husband. He doesn't ride bike anymore. He doesn't go with me to political things or anything like that.
So Lance, how often, because I've been doing some work on this, how often are charges made and then dropped just for the purpose of trying to get someone in jail or trying to leverage someone?
Well, I'll be honest. So, as a deputy chief, I'd have told you never, right? When I was a part of the problem, I would have told you never. But I'm just reviewing body camera after body camera, Kevin. I'm just seeing it all the time now.
Does it just go down the line to see where we can get someone on in order to be able to incarcerate them?
Yeah, it's that stupid saying we used to always say you can beat the time, but you can't beat the ride, and it's like we just want to put people in handcuffs and send them to jail. But there's the long-lasting effects. For the officer, the charges just simply get dropped. Mm-hmm. And all that means is they don't have to take a day off and go to court. Mm-hmm. But they're not financially responsible for the lawyers. They're not, if they lose their job or the loss of wages, they're not responsible for the psychological.
The whole thing of reputation too, right? So no one ever comes back and says, "Hey, this was wrong. We were wrong."
No,
Mr.
and that's the whole thing.
Your reputation.
So I sent a demand letter,
right,
in hopes that they will call me and say, "Let's have a conversation." Mm-hmm. No, they did nothing. So now we're going to file a lawsuit. Why do I need to go that route? Why did anybody else have to go that route? If we would have had the simple conversation of what's going on and how these people that have filed lawsuits are feeling about what happened to them, we wouldn't be in this situation because maybe the chief would understand that everything is not perfect in his department.
So who is this Ashley Harrell and the mental health referral oversight?
So Ashley Harrell was a direct hire. I've been fighting for no more direct hires for a long time.
Okay, so when you say direct hire, you mean?
The chief called and said, "I want her hired."
Interesting.
In Fred Poppy's case, the city manager called and said, "I want him hired." They didn't look up background checks. Fred Poppy had 2 DUIs and didn't put it on his application. She was hired at a salary that all she's doing is a referral coordinator. And a referral coordinator makes maybe $50,000 a year. She's making more than that. We've invested $14,000, I think, $12,000 for training, additional training. That's not what it's supposed to be. I presented to them a partnership with FIT for the mental health issues with the police department and the city. They went
That's
and hired.
a great idea, isn't it?
Absolutely, because FIT has a psychology department now. Those people are trying to get their PhDs and doctorates and all this stuff. They need, community hours and all that. Mm-hmm. What a better relationship than FIT with the Palm Bay Police Department. But no, nobody listened. So they go and they hire this woman who doesn't have the experience, who was practicing in a facility where had Pamela Spivey done her due diligence as a risk manager to find out where they're sending employees to, they would have known that the owner of that clinic had lost his license for himself being addicted to illicit drugs. Oh. A chiropractor.
Tell me that this is not true.
Absolutely. I don't come here to lie. I come here with facts.
Tell me it's not true.
It doesn't even stop. I'll tell you. So we actually, as a police department in the city, we contracted with this facility. It was an addiction facility, like Miss Isabel was telling you, but we contracted for mental health services. So Ashley Harrell and Chief had a client-patient relationship. She's an unlicensed mental health therapist, but yet she was seeing clients for mental health. We were sending...
Were some of these officers?
Yes, sir. I was one of them. The chief sent me to this facility and to her, knowing that she's an addiction therapist. Well, I have no addiction. I have 600 pages of medical records, but she's not even a licensed therapist doing EMDR. And probably the biggest issue, like I said, we were contracted with this facility. I think over 2 years we spent over $100,000 with them. So she's an employee with them, under contract with us. We were sending officers that were involved in officer-involved shootings there to get cleared to return to work. The doctor that was there when I was there is now, I say he's selling weed. He works for a cannabis distributor because the facility's shut down now because of the complaints they were getting. They're shut down. So we have officers that are out there that were involved in officer-involved shootings that went to this facility to return to work, but because they had a client-patient relationship, like she said, Chief of Jail said, I want her hired. Gave her a 10% bonus because of her training experience, and over the next year, sent her $12,000 worth of training, 4 different conferences all over this country.
So you see a consistent pattern here. So now you move on from that to Jeff Spears, right, who is ushered in as the presumed heir apparent to Augello.
Yeah.
There's a consistent issue here. So
absolutely.
Your thoughts on Spears becoming the next
Spears has no
chief?
business being put as the next chief of police. To be a chief of police, you have to be engaging with the community. You have to have experience. My personal experience with him have not been nice. He was supposed to be present at City Council for our organization to get funding, $4,000 funding, to send 200 kids to Legoland. He didn't show up, so we didn't get the money.
Why did he not show up?
He said he had to go to school. But you're employed first. Then you do your business. So I don't think he's ready. I don't think he has the experience. When you try to speak to him, he's trying to act like he can handle it, but he can't. I'll give you a perfect example. We had a bomb threat in Palm Bay, okay, Memorial Day. We're now November, 8th, 9th? I don't even know what day we're on.
November 2nd.
Oh, look at that. I'm a week ahead. November 2nd. I still haven't received the documentation that I requested on that bomb threat, okay? All along I've been saying, we made a mistake, we own it, we use it as a learning experience, so we do better next time. I'm not trying to get the chief in trouble, Jeff Spears, or anybody. I respect my police department, but I want them to take responsibility if something is wrong. I've said if I'm wrong, I will take responsibility and apologize to my city and apologize to my department, to everybody, okay? But they did not evacuate the staff. Yes, it was a holiday, so the only ones that were there were dispatch and a couple of officers. They were not evacuated. When I try to get the report from the sheriff's office to find out at what time did they call for the bomb squad or whatever it's called to come, it was 2 hours later. And what's sad and what upsets me is that they don't understand the importance of evacuating immediately. We spend thousands of dollars to get a car, or what is it?
The command bus.
The command bus. So in case they need to evacuate, staff goes in there and they drive to wherever they need to go. Why are we spending money on SWAT cars and these vehicles if we're not going to use them?
Where are we, Lance?
It's just mismanagement of funds. I mean, this week we're sending 9 SWAT guys over to Orlando to participate in SWAT Roundup, $26,000 in salary. And I've told you how many times as a chief placed that entire crew in the city council chambers at $4,000 to $6,000 at a pop just to intimidate me. It's brutal. The command bus has been sitting there. It's so old. Last time I knew, the radios were outdated. Couldn't even use it. But it's just a giant billboard. I mean, but you know, it's just a failure. And that's why when we talk about Jeff Spears taking over, right? Mm-hmm. He's being rewarded for his silence. Remember, I was the next chief. But when I told Chief Augello I wasn't going to be the next chief, that's when he started retaliating against me. I spoke out. Mm-hmm. Jeff Spears hasn't. So he's been rewarded for his silence. He was a sergeant 5 years ago. And people forget this. He was a sergeant 5 years ago. But here's the deal. His wife is an FBI agent in Brevard County. Mm-hmm. So with Jeff Spears, they get that umbrella of protection. Remember, this council and some of these city leaders were under investigation by the FBI. This is one way that they can ensure that this does not happen again. We put Jeff Spears in place, and we get his wife to back us. Because she was a Palm Bay police officer, and I was trying to figure this out the other day. She was a Palm Bay police officer. We sent her over to the FBI task force as a Palm Bay police officer. She then gets hired by the FBI, goes off to do her schooling, and then comes back to the very same seat that she was in when she worked for us.
You can't make this up.
I don't make it up. But that's what they get. That's what they get with him.
This is craziness. So just as we wrap this up, how do you stop this? Let's start with you, Mrs. Wright. How do you stop this? How do we get Rollins taken care of, and how do you write this?
Well, you know, the community needs to get more involved. Everybody needs to understand that we have to come together and show unity. The unity in the community, those two words are very important in this situation. Our organization is tiny. We don't have the funding to help Tamara. I've contacted many attorneys. We need to get the community together. We need to demand that FDLE steps in and does an independent investigation, because we can't rely on our city council.
So how can people contact you?
Well, they can certainly contact me via my phone number, which is 321-482-7006. We're trying to compile a list of anybody who's been affected on a situation like this. We have a couple of officers that are bad apples. You know, officers that should never have been officers. Officers that, you know, have jumped from being a corrections officer straight to police. We cannot have officers like that. Cops are human beings. They suffer from addiction, marital problems, delinquent children. All of it affects them just like they affect me, you, and him. But we cannot look the other way and assume it's okay. It's not okay. We cannot reward bad behavior, just like with your children. You can't.
Particularly with that kind of authority, Lance, right? I mean, you are wearing a badge and you have a gun. You are supposed to uphold the law. We continue to say here on BrevardNews, you can't uphold the law by being lawless.
100%.
You can't.
I was talking to an officer the other day, and I said, so you've seen the video. If you had seen what Rollins did to Tamara Hatcher in Walmart, right? Mm-hmm. Take the handcuffs off. If you saw a man driving his thumb into a woman's throat, grab her by the neck, and strike her across the face, what are you going to do? Make an arrest. Mm-hmm. But you're not going to make an arrest on Rollins because he's wearing a uniform and a badge. Mm-hmm. Because if that had happened in Walmart, any citizen would have come up and handled that situation. But because he's wearing a uniform and a badge, nobody will touch him.
Well, and then the breaking into her house and all of this. I mean, it's just...
And her son.
And her son. And it's just... Which the charges were dropped.
They were dropped, but you still affected a child.
Yeah, but the point is that why would you even charge him?
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
They knew that there was nothing there. And again, it comes back to this issue, and we're going to do a deep dive into this charging of citizens with crimes for whatever purposes you do it, and they all end up getting dropped.
Correct.
What are we doing here? What is the point of this?
Justifying federal money. Justifying the need for additional money in your budget. The more arrests you have, the more need you're showing city government, federal government that you need additional monies. Many years ago, I forgot which sheriff it was, I wanted to declare Brevard County a high crime area to get more money. Mm. We are not a high crime area. I'm from LA. Mm-hmm. I went to high school.
Right.
This I'm from Miami. This is nothing. This is nothing. But we have corruption.
Correct.
And that cannot continue.
What is interesting to me is people are very against the street crimes, let me call it. But when it comes to the corruption in office,
because they're afraid
of government officials, they don't seem to have the same kind of disdain that they have for people who are robbing or stealing. And these people are no different.
But
if you are being corrupt in office, you're just the same.
Yeah. But
and I don't understand, where's the outrage?
People are afraid with the police department.
But that allows it to continue.
Yeah.
So we'll continue to deal with this issue of Sean Rollins. Why is he still, to this day, employed by the Palm Bay Police Department? We'll continue to keep you updated on it. My name is Kevin Jeffery. I'm your moderator, and joining me is Lance Fisher, former Deputy Chief of the Palm Bay Police Department. And also Isabel Wright, President of the United Coalition Council, Inc. All right, got it. Thanks for joining me on the Brevard News Focus this time, and you have a wonderful time. We'll see you next time.
And that's it. Thank you for tuning in to Thin Blue Lie Audits. Thank you to Brevard News, Isabel Wright, Kevin Jeffries, for letting me sit down and have a discussion about why. Why is this officer still an employee? It's crazy the things that he's doing and zero accountability. If you can, go follow Brevard News either on Facebook or on YouTube. Help promote their channel as well. They do a lot of good for exposing local corruption, and they're expanding their network. They're hitting Middle Florida, Central Florida, Space Coast, you name it, they'll expose it. Thank you.